Hi, welcome to the Small Shed and a happy new year to one and all. Let's hope this year is better than last. I think I thought when we first went into lockdown in 2019 was it, that it was going to be a pretty rough time, and as it happened we came out of the year last year probably far worse off than we were this year. So thanks to all the vaccinations and things that are making it more easy to recover from COVID, and all the restrictions are less than they were last time, let's all hope that we can get out and about and resume normal life again, because after 18 months I'm beginning to get a little bit fed up of it. Let's go and have a look at fitting this boxing that we had to the electrical cupboard down at Menin Sheds that was done before Christmas, and I'll talk you through it. So this is the bare bones of the electrical setup that we've got to cover up, and I've just brought in the unit from the car that I did at home and painted up. It's all pretty much ready to go in, and I did debate whether, as I say, to add this onto the back of the previous video, but it would probably have made it a bit too long. There's not a huge amount to do really. I'd measured it with a little bit of tolerance to allow a bit of packing underneath, and in the meantime you can probably see that from the screeded floor they've moved on to putting the PVC tiles, like I've just put in the garage, down on their floor. And as it happens, they're about 6mm thick, I think, or 10mm, and that was roughly what I'd allowed as tolerance that I was going to pack up and put a skirting round it. So it's pretty much slid right in without too much effort, other than just sweeping the rubbish out the way that the previous builders had left lying around. I'm putting it on top of the tiles purely and simply so that we don't end up having cut tiles around a cupboard that sooner or later somebody will change the office layout or something and decide they want to do something different and take the whole thing out again. One of the things I've learned from years of working in offices is that whatever you do will change in a matter of weeks when somebody comes along and wants something slightly different. But as it is, it just seems to fit in pretty much without a huge amount of work to support it. I didn't want to be involved in drilling holes in the blockwork and plugging and screwing and all that sort of thing. So I've gone for a pair of 2x2 50mm square type blocks of wood, bit of scrap we got in the shed, about 150mm long, 6 inches or so, and I've just held them roughly in place on the wall and screwed through, or drilled through from one side, one hole, and I'm just going to put a screw in there to screw the block in place, so that later on I can come back, pull that whole thing away, put some adhesive onto the block, push it back onto the wall, and it means they can take the cover off, or the whole of the unit off, by just taking 2 screws out if they want to in the future. And if they do want to take the blocks out, which probably wouldn't be needed if they were reboxing, they can just knock it off with a hammer, and it won't have caused any damage to the structure, if you like. And it was also a damn sight easier for me to do, just with a couple of bits of grip fill. I am impressed with the panel adhesives that you get with these guns now. I used them on the ceiling of the garage when I was doing the refurbishment in there, and it really does stick well, and it only takes a matter of seconds and it's grabbed and the thing doesn't move. So things have come on quite a long way over the last few years in panel adhesives. They really seem to have come along well. can see, if you look at those two cardboard boxes stacked up just to the left at the top, you can just see the remnants of the old office petition that was put up by the so-called professionals, or was being put up when I first came in and did the measuring up and rough fitting of it. It had reached the stage apparently that it was basically unsafe, never mind anything else. They hadn't got a door hung in it, but if you had hung a door on it, there was a suspicion that the whole petition would have fallen down when the door slammed, because it's about 4 meters wide, probably 3 meters high, and it was totally unsupported at the top. They hadn't gone to the trouble of putting any blocks in between the suspended ceiling and the floor above. There's a concrete floor above that with a void. They just literally put studding across the room with a join in the middle, and vertical studs, and again nothing securing the floor down either. So it was pretty much only supported at either end, and it had panels of plasterboard at the bottom and very thin acrylic in the top. So they had the builders back and made them take it all out, and you can just see on the top left hand side there's a bit of stud left there, all the old stuff stacked in the corner where they took it down. So what it means is that what I'm doing is being judged against that, hopefully. So it doesn't matter how rough my work is, theirs is worse. So that will hopefully mean that we don't get too much comeback on the work we've done. Not that I don't think it's would probably stand up against a pro's job anyway. It's just that it's taken 4 times longer. I'm just screwing the bottom panel in. I'm using the little kitchen type block connectors, the plastic ones, and again, if I'd thought about it, I'd have either screwed the block to the panel in the first place or brought a stubby screwdriver along, because I had to lift the panel out slightly just to be able to get in with a screwdriver to fix it. But they will be able to undo it by just undoing it from the side fixings if they want to in the future. The only time that's likely to come out is if they need to change the main fuses for the incoming supply. The meters are accessible through the top panel, which just clips in and out. I've just gone and got my little glue gun out the car with the panel adhesive in it and a bit of paint. You'll see there's a patch all the way up the left hand side and on the right that you can't see, where the previous boxing that they had around that unit had been on the wall, and of course the wall was painted a different colour underneath, so I just brought a little bit of paint along just to tidy it up and produce them a half decent job. The other thing that's odd is that the panel itself, which is made of like a laminate covered an MDF material, in daylight it's not that far different to the colour of the electrical cupboard. It looks far more grey than it does on the video. There's a green cast to it, whether that's the using the GoPro inside on the colour temperature of it, I don't know, but it's certainly not quite as different a colour. And one of the reasons I'd gone with that stuff was that it looked almost like the original cupboard itself. Just putting a couple of squirts of this grip fill stuff onto the blocks of wood, and as I say, that'll go on the wall, grab within a matter of minutes, and then if they want to take the panel and the whole unit off, they've got just 2 little screws to take off and it'll all come out. You can see there's not many people around at the moment. They're just moving in before Christmas, but basically they make and research lithium batteries, so it's a useful sort of contact to have. One of the reasons for helping out, if you like, the neighbours with this one is that it'll get us a little bit of a contact with a new local business. And these things all work as part of sort of community involvement of Men in Sheds, I think. You know, we do stuff for local businesses, they sponsor the shed, and in turn we get benefits from them. So for very little cost we've used a lot of recycled material. It's all stuff that we've had in the shed that's probably not stuff we'd use very often anyway. Painted door frames aren't something we normally use because we tend to only make stuff for outdoors, garden furniture and things like that that are outside. And certainly the MDF panel, which was a bit of office furniture, I think, was something that's been lying around for a long while because it's just not something we've got a use for. So it's been useful. The only thing that's cost really is a little bit of grip fill, and I think I spent £2 something on the handle for the top door, but really it's not cost anything in terms of materials, and they will then make a donation to Men in Sheds through Age UK, and we'll get some benefits back from that as well. Just stuck a couple of skirting pieces on the bottom because the sides where I think they were 1.24 and the timbers are 1.22 or something, so I just got a little masking piece like a skirting, fitted the top cupboard on, and that was pretty much it then. Ready to just touch up the paint on those bits on the wall that hadn't been sorted out when they took the boxing off in the first place. I was going to sort of fill the holes and that, but again it's time and not knowing quite what they want to do. One of the things I've learnt from years of office life is that whatever you do will be changed in a week or two's time when somebody comes along wanting a new wall putting in or a new petition or something like that. But that's pretty much tidied the whole thing up, left them with a job that hopefully doesn't look like we've even been there, and it's served to keep people's fingers out from the main three-phase supply into the building. You can see on the left all the bits and pieces of petition that are left, and perhaps we might get our hands on that one of the days. Right, well that's the boxing installed. Hopefully I think they're happy with it, and we've made a useful contact with our neighbours. They deal with lithium batteries, so it's new technology, and hopefully if we get a closer relationship with them we might even end up with them helping us with sponsorship of the shed. So I hope it was of interest. Apologies once again for the fact that these few videos around this time are going to be a bit on and off, but there are reasons for it that I hope you'll understand. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll see you again soon. Bye!